In this section 1.6, we're going to be looking at collecting or combining like terms and expressions, and so I want to keep it to really simple and think of it in terms of nouns. I mean, if two people, for example, had a different number of apples and bananas shown below, how much would they have collectively? So if you look at this carefully, this first guy has basically 5 apples, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bananas, plus she has, it looks like 3 apples, and it looks like she has 8 bananas. Collectively, they have 8 apples. 5 apples plus 3 more would make 8 apples. And 5 bananas plus 8 bananas, that would be 13 bananas. So that's really all there is to doing this, is you're just having also to include signs in it. But for example, it even says down here that would be equivalent to 5 apples plus 5 bananas plus 3 apples plus 8 bananas. And just like we had, 5a plus 3a is 8a. And 5b plus 8b, if you add those together, that would be like 13 bananas. So mathematically, this is equivalent to when we're using algebraic expressions. So for example, here it says 3x and 4x, those are both like terms. We have 3x's here and 4x's here, so collectively, positive 3x and positive 4x is like saying we have 7x. And then the only slight difference here is whenever you have a minus like that, let's read that as plus negative, or let's read that as negative 8y. So in this case, let's say that that right there is negative 8y. And that is positive 2y, so we just need to add together negative 8 and positive 2. So in other words, again, if you're uncomfortable, think about the negative 8 is if you're down 8 and you add 2, you're still down 6. So you're still, it's a negative 6. So I'm going to write negative 6y. So these two right here came together to make negative 6y. So that's it. That's the answer. The answer for this one is 7x minus 6y. If I was going to do that in a different color. So it really is just that simple. Alright, so let's try the next one. Again, we'll start with this case. We have 4a plus 3a minus 5b minus 6a plus 5. So we have a whole bunch of a's. Let's look at those together. So we're going to add all of these a terms into one thing. So it's kind of like we have 4 apples plus 3 apples, that's 7 apples, but we owe 6 apples. So if you do positive 7 minus 6, that's just going to leave us with 1 apple. Or you could just write a. And then the next one, we have negative 5b and positive 5b, so negative 5 plus 5 is just 0, so you don't even have to write it. You could write plus 0b, but it's really just, there's nothing left. And so for the answer for this one, it just literally just the letter A. You could write 1a if you like, it means the same thing. Alright, for the problem like C, before you can combine like terms, we will have to first distribute that 3 inside the parentheses. So we'll have to do 3 times 2p and 3 times q. So this will be 6p plus 3q, and then I'll just rewrite the rest of this. I'll bring down the minus q from before and the plus 5p from before. And now I'll look for like terms. I have a positive 6p and a positive 5p. So it's like having 6 pictures and 5 pictures for a total of 11 pictures. And then we'll need to collect the 3q, and if it doesn't have a number in front, it's understood to be 1. So it's like saying 3q minus 1q. So if I do the 3 minus 1, that's just going to leave me with 2. Like 3 minus 1 is positive 2, so it'll be positive 2q. That's really all there is to this one. So this will just become 11p plus 2q. Okay, so again, same concept on this one. This would be a great place for you to pause the video and try this on your own before I work it out if you'd like. But if you want to go forward with this, you'd first distribute the 2 inside the parentheses and rewrite it. So I'll bring down the 4x because that wasn't part of the parentheses. 2 times 3 would be plus 6y. 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4x. And then we just need to collect like terms, right? So let's see, we have 4x and negative 4x. So basically, those are 4 minus 4 is just 0. So I could write 0x, but that's just 0x is just 0, so you don't even need to write that, so that's gone. And really, the only thing that remains here is the 6. The 6y is all that's left. It's all by itself, so it's just 6y for this one. So for this, we're just going to write 6y. Alright, now this next one can be a little tricky because it's kind of like an understood negative 1 is in front of this whole parenthesis. So I'm basically going to have to multiply each term on the inside of this parenthesis by a negative 1. So each one of these I'm going to multiply by that negative and rewrite it. So I'm bringing the 4 down. Negative 1 times positive 2 would be negative 2a. Negative 1 times positive 3 would be negative 3b. Negative 1 times negative 5 would be positive 5 or plus 5. And then finally I just bring down the plus 5a. Right there, I just brought that down. Alright, let's look for like terms. Alright, so I have a negative 2a, that's like the apples, and a 5a right there, so those are like terms, I can bring those together. So positive 5 minus 2, or negative 2 plus 5, either way you look at it, that should be 3a. If I add the negative 2 and the 5, the coefficients. Now in this case, b is all by itself. There's no other b terms, so I'm just going to bring down the b. So I'm just going to write down minus 3b. And then finally we have some constants. So we have a positive 4 and a positive 5. So if I could just add those together at the end, 4 plus 5 is just plus 9. So the final answer on this one, after collecting like terms and expanding the parentheses, it would just simply be 3a minus 3b plus 9. Alright, a lot of parentheses in this next one over here. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to make the screen a little bigger so I can see that one a little closer. Okay, so for this one, first thing we're going to do is distribute the parentheses here. Alright, so let's do that one first. 2 times 5, that's going to become 10. 2 times negative 2, that'll be minus 4w. Let me write that w a little better. Okay, and then minus 6, just bring that down. And now that 3 outside the parentheses, we got to distribute again. So 3 times that, and then 3 times this. So 3 times 2 would be plus 6w. 3 times negative 3, that would be minus 9z. And just bring down the last plus 1z. Okay, so let's go through and start collecting like terms again. Alright, so I think I see w's first. So let's go for the w. So I have a negative 4w and a positive 6w. So first I'll add those two together. So it's like saying 6 minus 4 or negative 4 plus 6. Either way you look at that, that would be 2w. Okay, and then the next one I think I'll look at are the z's. Usually I try to do all the variable terms first. So I got a negative 9 and a positive 1. So it's understood 1 in front of that. So negative 9 plus 1 would be negative 8. Negative 8z. So these two right here combine together to make that. And then what I have left are just constants. Alright, so I have a 10 and a negative 6. So, or 10 minus 6, which is positive 4. So write plus 4. And so what we're left with then is 2w minus 8z plus 4. Alright, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to start the next video in just a moment. Again, ask your teacher if you have any questions on that.